welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing really well. I am so sorry I haven't been here for a little while, but it is for a good reason. So much has happened since the last time I filmed a video. What I'm going to do is I am just going to do my makeup and kind of chat about everything that's been going on in my life and kind of the reason why I haven't been able to sit down properly and do a video for you guys. I won't be I might mention a few products here and there, but I won't kind of be like, I'm using this and I'm using this. I'm kind of just going to focus on what I'm chatting about. So I really don't know where to begin, but there's a lot to kind of like catch up on and talk to you guys about. I haven't got a new background because I've got like a new setup in my bedroom, so I've brought everything down and I'm going to be doing my videos and stuff from here now. Let's have some fun, do some makeup and catch you up on everything that's been going on in my life. I guess I could begin with, as most of you know, I have a little boy called Oscar. He is going to be 10 months on the 21st of July. Basically, Oscar has a condition and it's called Sturge-Weber syndrome. And this is a really rare condition, so it affects 1 in 50,000 babies and it causes so many different kind of complications for him in his life. Some of them being glaucoma, developmental delays, seizures, paralysis, quite a lot of different things. So it's a massive thing that he has to go through, and he got diagnosed with that. I'm just gonna try and I need to do my eyebrows. He got diagnosed with that when he was 10 weeks old, nearly 10 weeks old. But when he was born, he had, and as you probably can see from what you've seen of him, he has a kind of like birthmark on his face. This was the first kind of sign that he had Sturge-Weber. I'm just gonna pop on some concealer under my eyebrow. That was the first kind of sign that he had this condition. And then the second sign was at 10 weeks nearly. He had his first seizure. He was staying over at his nan's house and he had been feeling really weird to me all day. Like, he was at home all day and he felt he was just not himself. And obviously I'm a first-time mum, so I didn't know if, you know, he wasn't feeling very well, but I just didn't know. And obviously I could not have predicted that that was going to happen to him. And then about 3 o'clock that morning we got a phone call to say that he was having a fit, basically, and this fit lasted 40 minutes. So with Sturge-Weber, fits can last, they can be really long. Basically, they're more likely to be long, unlike epilepsy. Their seizures are known to be quite prolonged, or they can stop and start and they can't really break the cycle of them. So that is basically where it all began, and he got put on medication and he was doing really well, to be honest. He went about 6 months with completely no seizures, nothing. And we honestly, it was kind of naive to think it at the time, but we actually thought that maybe that would be it, like he just won't have any more seizures. Because his seizures, those first lot of seizures, were so strong, it actually caused him to lose quite a lot of function of his left side, because obviously it was his right side of his brain that was affected. And because the right side of your brain controls the left and the left side controls the right, it was like mirrored. So because the right side of his brain is damaged from the seizures, it was his left side that kind of like suffered. So he didn't have much control. He didn't use his left side. He could only just about roll. Other than that, he couldn't sit yet. He couldn't crawl, nothing like that. And that's kind of where we got up to, and he was, yeah, 6 months completely no seizures, which to be honest was such a positive, and we were really grateful that he had gone such a long time without a seizure. Fast forward to the 21st of May 2020. This is like, I'm trying to like tell you the most in detail and like give a backstory, but there is so much that's happened in his first like year. The 21st of May 2020, we were out and about, just going to do our food shopping, obviously because it was lockdown and everything. You can only go food shopping and like plan it really, because you don't want to be out too long, and it's like one in, one out. The whole way round, normally Oscar will just sit, and he's like really happy to just sit in his pram, and he just wasn't. He was really upset, and he just wasn't himself at all. Tim actually got him out and carried him around the shop while we did the food shop. Wasn't looking around, he was just nuzzling into Tim. He wasn't just being his normal self, but I just thought he wasn't feeling well, and it was quite a warm day, so I just assumed maybe the heat had just gotten to him, and maybe that's why he was being a bit sluggish and just, you know, not as energetic and things like that. Anyway, we put him in the car, drove home, and when we got home, we opened the boot to get the shopping out, and normally we can like look through the boot. Like you open the boot up, look through, and you can like talk to him and he'll smile at you. But he just wasn't, like, he wasn't smiling. He wasn't even looking at us when we were like trying to talk to him, but he just wasn't. So I was like, that's so weird. We brought him in, and his like breath was going like really, really jagged and just not normal. And I just had a really weird feeling like this is not okay. This is what he's gonna have a funny turn, I think. So he was breathing really weirdly, and then we got him out of his car seat and put him on the sofa, and then he was just really not responding to us, and his eyes were kind of going off to one side, and he was just like, we just knew that he was having another seizure. We called the ambulance. Ambulance came, and obviously with coronavirus it's like completely different now. They have to like set up and get everything, you know, looking, or like disinfected and things like that. And everyone who has like epilepsy and has fits and things like that, what you think a fit and a seizure looks like is completely different to how it actually is. And especially with Serge Weber, it isn't, you know, convulsions like where you like, you know, really shake and things like that. It can be as subtle as just laying there and just looking up. That could be a seizure. And because his condition is so, you know, not well known, even doctors and nurses at his hospital don't know what his condition is, and the ambulance drivers don't know what it is, so you have to kind of explain to them and actually tell the professionals what's going on and things like that. He was having a seizure on the sofa. Ambulance came, and they obviously decided to take him to hospital. So I went in the ambulance with Tim. I went in the ambulance with Oscar, and Tim followed behind. So the whole way Oscar is still having a seizure. We've given him his rescue medication, but he hasn't actually come out of his seizure at all. We get there, and it's so weird. Like normally A&E is really, really loud and busy, but it was so quiet. And obviously I think they're separated. I'm not sure how it all works, but I think they were separating people who had coronavirus and people who didn't have coronavirus. And obviously we didn't have coronavirus. Let me just do... Yeah, we got in there. Oscar is still seizing on the bed, and they're giving him quite a lot of different medications to try and get him out of it, but nothing, literally nothing is working. He will come out for like a second and go straight back into another seizure. And they really didn't know what to do, and it was really hard as his mum to kind of keep my head on and stay calm. It's not nice seeing your little baby, 8-month-old baby, you know, completely just lose, you can't do anything to help them. It's really horrible. From the time that we were at home and he was having a seizure till they decided to intubate him. So basically, if you don't know what intubated means, it means like put to sleep in an induced coma. So they decided, because they could not control his seizures, to put him under and induce a coma to completely just stop it. From that moment until then, it had been 3 hours. So 3 hours had gone by with Oscar just being in a seizure. So that is just such a crazy amount of time to be, you know, having a seizure for. And then they intubated him. So once he was intubated, they couldn't keep him at our local hospital, so we had to be transferred. And we got transferred at about, he got taken to our local hospital at about 4:30. And by the time that we left that hospital to go to Great Ormond Street in London, we left about 1 o'clock in the morning, because they had to like transfer him off their machines onto the hospital transfer machines. It was just such a long, tiring, horrible process, and he was just all tubed up, and it was just another level of like, it was just horrible. So I rode in the ambulance to London with Oscar and the team, and then we got there, and again with COVID, it was just like completely different to how it normally is. Tim wasn't allowed in the room, and then Oscar stayed overnight in intensive care and me and Tim were able to get a emergency accommodation provided by the hospital, but we were only allowed that for 1 night because of COVID. They normally do it, but they weren't doing accommodation, and it was just, oh my god, that was just another rigmarole. We got to Gosh, he stayed overnight, and he was in intensive care for 2 days, I think, and still they were introducing new drugs. They were trying to stop his seizures and nothing was working. Like, they were just trying drug after drug, different things, and they can only try so much. So it was just getting unbearable. And we were in hospital. Tim was able to swap with me because I was in there with him for so long, and it was just, for me, it was just so horrible. And I wasn't sleeping. I was getting so sick with like not being able to sleep, looking after him. He was in a horrible way. He was having seizure after seizure after seizure, not coming out, and he was sleeping. Every time he woke up, he would be sick, and he would just have fit after fit after fit, and they just couldn't figure out a way to, you know, stop that from happening. A few doctors had mentioned to us that normally with cases like this where the epilepsy is drug resistant, they try and see if the patient is a candidate for something called a hemiserotomy. I think I'm saying that right. And what a hemiserotomy does is it is a brain operation where the affected part of the brain is disconnected from the healthy part of the brain, and then the disconnected part of the brain, they don't use it anymore, and they just live with half of their brain. It is a way to hopefully prevent them having seizures and things like that. And they'd mentioned it a few times while we were at Gosh, but they always like said, look, this is something that takes a long time to decide, and it's not a, you know, it won't happen next week, it won't, you know, it'll probably be a year thing or even longer potentially. So we were like, okay, so at least if his seizures just don't get controlled, we've got that kind of as a last resort, but let's just hope that his seizures are kind of controlled. Days went on and Oscar was still having lots of seizures, and they did an MRI, and then they did something called telemetry, where they put loads of like electrical things on their head, and it monitors where seizures come from in the brain. So they did that for him, and basically what they saw on the telemetry was that Oscar's seizures would take over the entire left side of his brain, like completely. When he would have a seizure, it would just completely take over that part of his brain. And what they saw as well was that it would flick kind of over to that healthy side, which obviously was not a good sign. So when they saw that, I think the decision was made to kind of fast track the process of him having a hemiserotomy. They discussed in a meeting what they thought would be like the best option for him, and it was decided that he would in fact have a hemiserotomy. So we went into Great Ormond Street on the 21st of May, and we were let out, I believe. We came home, I believe, the 4th of June. I want to say the 4th, I could be completely wrong. Might be later than that. No, it was the 8th or the 9th of June. And we were allowed home for a week, and we were getting ready for surgery. So the doctors that said, look, it's going to take a while, they weren't wrong, but I think they didn't realise how severe his condition was at the time. And the medication that he was on kept his seizures kind of at bay for that time. We were getting ready to go back to hospital for him to have his hemi. When we got back, Tim made the decision to go into hospital with Oscar. That was absolutely fine. I think Tim likes to do that kind of thing because he knows that he's like strong enough to do that, if you know what I mean, and he wants to protect both of us. He wants us to both be okay. So he made the decision to stay in the hospital with Oscar, and I would come home, and because obviously normally you could both be there, but with coronavirus you can only have one parent. So Oscar went in for surgery on the 18th of June, and he was in surgery for 11 hours, and they did the surgery. They disconnected half of his brain. He has a pretty hefty scar now, and since that surgery, he got so swollen, and he was just not, you know, in a good way at all. But since that surgery, he has not had any seizures at all. And what happens with a hemiserotomy is they lose completely their left side, or whatever side is the weakest. So Oscar has no function of the left side of his body, and he has also lost the peripheral vision in his left eye as well, which is common for this surgery. They just lose it because obviously if you've disconnected that part of your brain, it's not in use anymore. It kind of just like becomes redundant. So Oscar currently is having loads of physio, occupational therapy to kind of strengthen that side up. He's also rolling again, but he still can't sit and he still can't crawl. He will be 10 months, like I said, this month. But it's to be expected. Like, he's had like major brain surgery, and he'll get there in his own time. He has so much support. He has his physio, he has his occupational therapist, and everyone is behind him to try and get him to, you know, be better and try and help him along the way. So yeah, that is pretty much the story, I guess. He's really well at the moment. He's teething quite badly though. But other than that, he is doing really well. We are so happy and grateful to the team at Great Ormond Street that, you know, basically saved him. Because there was times where it was really we just didn't know what was going to happen to him, when they just couldn't control the seizures and everything like that. It was becoming just a lot. But still, it was a horrible kind of like day for him to be in there for. 11 hours and we just couldn't be in there with him. So we had to like fill up time. Oh my God, it was just not fun. It was not a good day at all. So he is just such an amazing little boy, honestly. So amazing. And we are so, you know, proud that he has been through all of this and he's only nearly 10 months. He has the rest of his life to kind of, you know, live. And we are incredibly lucky that this has all happened so quickly, because the earlier that you can get everything kind of controlled, the better chance of a good quality of life that they have. The brain is an amazing thing. Like, I had no idea you could live without your full brain. Like, I just did not know that. And the younger that the kids who have this surgery, the younger that they have it, the more chance they have of their brain kind of, the right side, not right side, the more chance Oscar has of the left side of his brain kind of taking over from that right side that isn't in use anymore. I don't really know what else to say. I've tried to kind of, where's my brush? I've tried to kind of tell you, in as simpler form as I can, without going too much into detail and like boring you all. But it's been such a crazy time, like from the 21st, well obviously from when he's been born, but from the 21st of this month all the way until the 18th of June, it was just like a blur. But now we're home, the house is looking semi, you know, how we like it. Oh, I need to curl my lashes. Today is actually Tim's first day back at work, because his work actually let him have the whole time with Oscar off to support us, and they've been so amazing. And like, I just can't imagine if he wasn't able to stay with us, what we would have all done. A good thing about going to London, when Oscar was in his surgery, we had to like kill time. So I went to Selfridges and bought some bits from the Morphe counter. I bought this, the lip stick and the spray, but I don't know where the spray's gone. I'm gonna use the Morphe lip liner in Backseat Love. I love this one. I need to sharpen it if I'm honest, but I don't know where my sharpener is. I'm getting my hair done as well on the 22nd of this month, so I will maybe film it, because obviously it's going to be massively different going, you know, with coronavirus. And I've said coronavirus like a million times in this video. I need to stop. Ah, my hair's done. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'm so sorry that I haven't been able to upload a little bit more frequently, but hopefully now you understand why. Please let me know if you have any requests for any type of videos that you'd like. If you like this video, please give it a like and please subscribe. It helps me out so much, and I hope you have a lovely day, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye guys.